Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are doing Sistas Season 2 finale recap. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you'll be notified every time we post. Also, feel free to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and also feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section below because I like to engage with my viewers and subscribers. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. So it left us off last week about the conversation that we see at the supermarket where both Fatima and Zach run into the sisters, Andi and Sabrina and Karen and Danny. And the biggest thing about all of this is the fact that Karen and Zach just got through sleeping with each other from episode 21. However, it was now identified that both Karen and Fatima is dating the same man. Now, definitely Karen is feeling some kind of way, but if anybody should be feeling some kind of way, is Fatima. But at the same time, she didn't know who his ex was because they never talked about it. However, Danny made sure she got everybody involved up to speed. However, Zach wanted no part of this. He was like, we need to leave. We should not be having this conversation in the supermarket. And they actually wanted to have a flat out back and forth conversation in the middle of the supermarket. And I'm like, yeah, this needs to be talked about maybe back at home. But you know, it actually took Zach going back and forth because he left the girls and came back to the girls to try to convince them that we don't need to talk about this here. And I honestly agree. Why would you want to have a big flat out conversation like this at the supermarket? Anywho, Karen was definitely wondering if Fatima knew anything about who she was and that she was Zach's ex. But Fatima was like, look, girl, I don't know. I didn't know you was the ex. I know he had an ex, but I didn't know that you were the ex. And she was like, Karen was still saying, hey, you came up in my shop and I did your hair. And all this time you've been dating Zach. But honestly, why would it matter, Karen? Because you were over and done with him until last night when you actually decided to sleep with him by cheating on your current boyfriend, Aaron. So I don't know what that's all about. You need to figure that out on your own. This ain't got nothing to do with you and Fatima. Fatima had no idea. However, Zach should have had some conversation with her about this. He claimed, as we'll talk about in a little bit, that he was going to talk to her about this, but obviously this wasn't the place for it. And I mean, she carrying, meaning Karen, all types of attitude about this whole situation. But you know, you ain't 100% clean in this, Karen, so I don't understand why you feeling some kind of way about all of this. And I'm glad they finally walked out to got this over with and got out of the supermarket. At the same time, Karen is now questioning Andi if she even know. And Andi was like, look, I didn't know nothing. And Karen just walked off and got mad as if she was lying to her. Whatever, girl. So let's jump in the car with Zach and Fatima in this ride back home. And Fatima is like, you know what? Why didn't you tell me? You could have told me. And Zach was like, I wasn't going to tell you unless I didn't know we was going to run into them at the supermarket. And she was like, well, you still could have told me. And Zach was like, look, we not in a relationship. We ain't even dating. We just hanging out. And so, you know, of course, Fatima was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And the thing is, they haven't really set any ground rules with each other. They had just been sleeping with each other. And she gave him a place to stay. And she gave him a job and all of that. I mean, even with that, I still think he should have had some conversation about that. But then he turned around and said, this is a ex-freak zone. And she was like, yeah, you're right. But you know what? I'm going to need you to move out. So, guys, let me know what you think about their conversation because he was mad at her. He's like, whatever. So, who knows where these two are going to go. Let's go over to Maurice's house with Calvin. He comes up in there and find Calvin stalking Sabrina's social media as if he was longing and smiling and laughing about, what he was seeing on her social media page. And, the thing is that they've been playing around with each other for a while. Honestly, Calvin should have went back a long time ago and figured this thing out. Sabrina as well, and we'll talk about her later. But, Maurice was like, dude, you sitting up here stalking her social media. You need to figure out what you're going to do. And Calvin is like, man, what's wrong with me? And pretty much Maurice was like, well, I don't think you're the problem. And I heard that comment. Let me know if you guys heard that comment too. But he did tell him you need to make some big moves by, just coming, being straightforward, and talking to her. And, he realized it too. But it was funny that Maurice was like, you need to make a move by grabbing her hair and choking her and going through something. And he was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm looking at him like, Maurice is so crazy. But honestly, Calvin do need to figure out what he's going to do. I mean, she said that she wasn't ready for a commitment when he was. But honestly, she wasn't. And if she says she wasn't, she wasn't. You can't force nobody to be in a committed situationship, relationship, or whatever ship you want to call it. But the thing is, I do think they need to talk. They need to figure this out because they left it open-ended and left it up in the air and hanging. They have been dodging and ducking each other. Obviously, Sabrina has whatever issues about the type of man he is versus the one that she expect him to be, which we've all know what that is in regards to episodes we've seen in the past and what his choices is on the things that he like, even though he's straight. But obviously, that's something Sabrina cannot handle. And the thing is, until she's ready to handle, she don't need to be in a relationship with something. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. So now we're in another car ride, but this time it's with Andi, Danny, Karen, and Sabrina. And so, Karen is trying to figure this whole thing out. Like, I can't believe she didn't know about me. And Danny is back there egging it on, saying, oh, yeah, this is the girl he talked about that supported him, that gave him this job. And, I mean, she was laying it on real thick. But Karen was like, he can't even say my name? Who do you think you are? Destiny Child or somebody?
Say my name, say my name.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
And I know Andi was like, that's what you worried about? He didn't say your name? Well, we got history. And he didn't mention me not once. How could you not mention me at all and that I'm your ex? Who does that? Wouldn't that make you mad? And Andi was like, not really. Does that make you mad? And she said, what? You thought I'd be worried about the fact that the two of them are together? And they was like, oh. Yeah, obviously, it's like, if he moved on to somebody who supported him because you emasculated him, or somebody who tried to help him, but you always thought the worst of him, why would he be thinking anything about you? Seriously, Karen, Zach's world don't revolve around you. So let's talk about when Danny got home. And that whole thing, she was glad to see him, but she was definitely not happy about the fact Preston brought by an uninvited guest.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Yep, it was Zach, and she was ready to blow a gasket. After everything that has happened, the supermarket conversation, the conversations with the girls, she get back to the house. Preston then invited not only Zach to come in and hang out and maybe stay, but also eat up some food out of her house. And, she's like, this is my house. How you just gonna let him come up in here? And, of course, Danny threw him out. He's like, you gotta leave. You gotta go. I don't care where you go. You just gotta get the heck up out of here. You got to get going. And he was pleading, like, please, give me a place to stay. And he was like, all right, fine, I'm out. So Preston is giving her the side eye, like, really, Danny? That's what you doing? You gonna throw I just invited him in because that's your friend. And I'm trying to help him out. Where's he gonna go? And so Danny is pretty much like, he'll figure it out. It ain't here. But then they had this whole conversation about, I always try to help you, which is what Preston said, but you just ain't changing. Ain't nothing changing with you. It's not working. And so she looking like, what do you mean? That it's not working. I'm not changing. And of course, Preston realized that, okay, I got to tread lightly with this one, because if I say the wrong thing, Danny is going to chin check me. So he cut that conversation short, and Danny went and jumped in the shower. Now, somebody else, meaning Miss Sabrina, is feeling some kind of way because she thought she should have heard from Calvin by now. And it's like, girl, would you pick up the phone and call this dude? But no, did she not call him? She ended up calling Jacoby. What you doing? I just want to talk. And Jacoby's like, look, you calling me. What do you want? Pretty much. I know you want me to come over. I'm coming over. And she's like, hold on. I didn't say you could come over. I just wanted to talk. And he like, talk about what? Oh, I just had a hard day. And, Jacoby's like, well, I'm on my way over. And he just was like not listening, not respecting any boundaries. So she talks to Danny. And, of course, Danny is like, oh, you got dude coming over. Oh, we just going to talk. Nothing's going to happen. And, of course, Danny is like, pretty much you need to get the cobwebs knocked out. But the other funny thing is the fact that Danny is talking about the fact that she needed to shave her chocha before Jacoby get over there. And Sabrina's like, ain't nothing happening. Ain't nothing happening right here. And I'm thinking to myself, Sabrina, really, this man already knows he can get over the first boundary, which is to tell him that he couldn't come over. He definitely was pushy about that, and you didn't stop him. Why you didn't stop him? Because you wanted him to come over. So she need to quit playing, and Danny know that she's not being serious. A lot of times Danny be speaking some facts, and these girls don't want to hear it. But it is what it is. They don't listen to her, and they end up finding out in the end that Danny was right all along. But anywho, she ends this conversation like, bye, Danny. And of course, Danny like, you better shave. So now we're going to swing over to Andy's house. Andy's now on the phone with Karen. And Karen is still talking about the fact that she can't believe that Zach ain't never mentioned her to Fatima. And it's like, really, girl? Why are you still talking about that? And then she's trying to decide whether she want to call Aaron. Now, you worried about the fact that Zach is with Fatima and ain't said nothing about you. Now you done flip back, I need to call Aaron. It's like, no, you need to figure out what's going on in your head. That's what you need to do. Anywho, she ends up, telling Karen Gary's on his way over. And she was like, oh, okay. And of course, Karen is being quiet. She's not pushing any judgment. And Andy is like, that's it? You ain't saying nothing? It's like, no, you grown. What can she say? After everything that's happened with Karen, she ain't got nothing to say about nothing. So Gary shows up because he rung the door. And of course, that's confusing because he can't find his keys. Somebody done took them. He done lost them. He don't know where they at. So he rung the doorbell. My thing is, before coming to somebody else's house, go find your keys. You gonna need them eventually. Anywho, they disregarded all of that. So, of course, they having this conversation about how happy she is. And he is being asked to move in by Andy. And he was like, are you serious? Well, what are your girls going to say? And she was like, there's nothing they can say. And, Gary's like, they know everything. Andy was like, yeah, pretty much. They know everything. So, I mean, it is what it is. And if you want to move in, you can move in. And so they all excited. And I don't know if you guys saw the Sistas on BET Live on IG. Actually, DeVale, who plays Zach, was saying that these two are actually look good as a couple. I'll link my video because I did also leave it on this channel. But they actually saw Gary and Andy is making progress. So let me know what you think and go check out that video. Jacoby is finally over at Sabrina's house. Jacoby is trying to be the master of seduction, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Because he know that he's going to have to schmooze his way to bring Sabrina's I would say walls down so he can get in where he fit in. And I don't mean in a physical way, but just to get closer to her. Anywho, so he's sturdily seducing. She kept saying, nothing's going to happen. I'm telling you, nothing's going to happen. And I'm like, girl, please, you done lost that battle from the phone call. You done lost that battle because he already knows he can push your boundaries and you aren't going to do anything different. So if he was able to push his way off the phone, push his way in the front door, push his way into drinking, push his way on the kissing you in your neck, until you actually say, leave my house, and you're not giving in to what you're feeling, which she's definitely giving in to what she's feeling in this moment because he's kissing her in the right spots and doing everything else. Yeah, she done lost this battle. And it's about to be on, obviously, as we saw. But reading some of the social media comments, a lot of people aren't, sold on Jacoby and whether he have ulterior motives. So let's swing back over to Danny's house. Preston went to take out the trash and they both apologizing to each other about the fact of everything that they said. And, of course, Preston inviting Zach to come over and eat up the food in the house. He better apologize for that. You don't invite somebody in somebody else's house. I mean, yeah, he stayed there, but that's, you need to talk to your partner if you're going to have somebody over. Well, guess what? There's somebody else that he wants her to meet. His mother. And I don't know, Danny was like, okay, I think my blood pressure is about to go up. I'm about to stroke out in a minute. And he was like, what's wrong with that? My mom want to meet you. My sister done told her all about you. Why not? I don't see any issues with it. Meet my mama. And then they talk about the differences between each other. And she was like, the difference between basically being in an interracial relationship. And they also talk about that on that live IG video if you haven't seen it. So go check that out. But they definitely ended the night on a sweet note. Let's swing back over to Jacoby and Sabrina. And I mean, Sabrina is over. He got you. You feeling some kind of way. It's about to go down until there's somebody knocking at the door. And she's like, look, hold on. I got to answer the door. Who's somebody at the door? And Jacoby is trying not to keep her. Well, he's trying to keep her from answering that door. And guess who's at the door? Calvin. And yeah, he's like, I need to talk. Okay, first of all, Sabrina should have called him first. And Calvin should have called before he came over. Therefore, we wouldn't have had these issues. But there is an issue. Jacoby is in the house and Sabrina is hiding him until he starts running his mouth and Calvin realizes, dude is at the house. He like, oh no, I'm a day late and $1 short. And she like, oh, can we talk about this later? And yeah, Calvin wasn't trying to hear that. Sorry, Sabrina, you should have called him first instead of calling Jacoby. Maybe y'all would have met up and who knows what would have went down. All right, somebody's sleeping and that's Andy. And she hear noises at the front door was like, baby, is that you? And she look up and of course, she like, no, baby, it's me. And she got a gun in her hand and I'm like, yeah. And then, of course, Gary comes out the bathroom and she points the gun at him, shoots him in the stomach. And I'm wondering, like, oh my God, is Gary done for? And then she turns around after she shoots Gary, and then turn around and turn the gun on Andi. Andi, was it worth it, girl? I don't know, but we'll definitely see what happens with all of them. Season 3 starts on June 9th on BET. Will Sabrina end up with Calvin? Or what happens with Jacoby? What happens with Karen and Aaron and Zach and Fatima? What happens to Gary? Is he gonna make it? And does she actually go through with shooting Andi? And then, of course, we can't forget about what's going to go on with Maurice. So, let's do our post notification shout outs. If you want to be shouted out, drop a comment down below. I will see your comment and shout you out. First one goes to Bobby Ray. Thank you so much for engaging in the channel. I appreciate your comment. Next is Devera Hicks. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you as well for engaging in the channel. I appreciate your comment as well. Next is Olitha Williams. Thank you so much for your comment as well. I appreciate your engagement in the channel. And then last but not least is Kathy Walker. Thank you as well for your comment. And I'm glad you enjoyed these videos from this season. Look forward to me coming back doing recaps in season 3. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you soon.